What's up, everybody? This is Will Winbush, and welcome to Ground Sounds. With me today is Grayson June. How are you today? How are you today? I can't even. I'm starting off horribly already. Welcome. How'd you hear about Ground Sounds?
I heard about Ground Sounds through Honey P, actually. Through your interview with them, or with her.
Oh. How do you know her?
Well, I run a blog. It's called Painting with Sounds on my website. I don't know how I came across her, actually. They were just looking for artists. Just like, you know what, she sounds dope. So decided to hit her up like, hey, I want to do an article about you. She's like, okay. As I was finishing up the article, I started like just digging deeper into like what she's done, you know? And I saw her interview with Ground Sound. So I'm like, hey, how did you land that? She was just like, I forget what she told me, but pretty much like, yeah, you guys are nice. You guys are nice people. Hit them up. It's like, cool. Oh, yeah. So I did. I wanted to wait though, so I got my album done, and so yeah.
Honestly, like he had messaged me on Instagram directly, not through Instagram, which usually is how people message us. But he messaged me directly, which I even respected even more. That he looked for me and found me and was like, hey, can I come do an interview? I sent some stuff to you, and I was like, oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No problems about that at all. Especially we had time and an opening at the moment, and you know, thank you for coming out. And
of course,
having this conversation. So, your music, Gray Matter.
Yeah.
How long have you been working on that?
Man, I started the first song. Okay, so it wasn't even, I didn't go into it trying to make an album. I was just like, this song sounds like an intro, you know? It was just like, you know, let's make an album. You know, I told myself like before, I don't want to make an album without like a set producer, like one that I can actually work with. I was like, you know what, right. It was just like, you know what, let me just do it. Let me see what I can make, you know? Like funded by my own, all that. The first song is, so the album itself is just through kind of just a day in my life. So every song on the album is named after a chemical or just like something in the body. So it's like, there's 7 songs. There's testosterone, cortisol, dopamine, melatonin, oxytocin, lidocaine, and I can't pronounce this for life. It's norepinephrine. It controls the fight or flight response in the brain. Probably, okay, yeah, okay. Probably.
I have a take of medicine for that.
It's pretty much just different emotions, my views on the world. Like testosterone is very much like the in your face, like this is who I am. That's like the intro. Cortisol is stress. And that's talking about my job. Like, yeah.
As someone who's worked in like fast food and retail.
Oh yeah, yeah. First job was Raising Cane's actually. So, it's cool. Yeah, not sponsored. The third song, Dopamine, is kind of okay. So the way I see dopamine, I always go to like an overload of dopamine. Like that's like my immediate thought. Because you hear about like, I don't know.
More dopamine.
Right,
life, like
right.
Need it.
It kind of just delves into things people kind of turn to get that, you know, unhealthily. And like, I don't know, throughout the whole album, it's just me. Like through the last song, I'll skip ahead to the last song. The last song talks about me just deciding if I kind of just want to be here, you know, on some Hamlet
stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was like, is it like that you actually want to be here within like your music, or is it like, do you want to keep on doing trapped in the same freaking like loop as everyone else is, pretty much.
Well, that's the thing too. So every song on there, it transitions into one another. That's so cool
Which
to me.
I love about
That's
songs.
dude, okay. I found that feature on Spotify. I was like, I'm gonna do that. So it's a transition. It's like waking up to pretty much going to sleep, you know. Where we go? Cortisol.
Cortisol, and then we skip to the end.
Yeah. So cortisol, then dopamine is about the happiness. Melatonin, it talks more about happiness. I remember I went to a doctor's appointment a while ago. He was like, "You're not sleeping enough, are you?" It's like, "No." It's like, he was like, "That can affect your mood." It's like, "Really?" It's like, okay. So he gave me like 50 milligrams of melatonin, which is insane. That song though is pretty much about trying, like, you pretty much saying you can't just, pretty much, it's gonna sound backwards. You can't search for happiness. You have to just be in, like, it's a choice, I feel like, to just, maybe not even just be happy, but try to be happy. Like, just find the positives and everything. So on the hook, I say, don't go searching for happiness, let it be. Because it's kind of the thing of like, if you search for something, you're going to get even farther away from it, if that makes sense. You have to just
Present.
Right, and then it'll come to you. And I found that to be very much true.
See, I like that because a lot of the time, like, I try to tell people that you can't actually know what makes you happy or the good times until you've had the bad times, the times that will make you hate everything and
Right.
want those good moments. And it's like, so when those moments do come, you just take it in as it is. Like, this could be the best day of my life. It could be
Right.
the last day of my life. How do I know? So I might as well live it as, you know, as free and loving and caring as I should be. You know, I view it as like, I should never be the same person as I was yesterday. I should
Right.
always be trying to improve myself. Today, I might not wake up in the best of moods, but you know, I still have air in my lungs,
Right.
blood flowing. You know, I'm not dead. You know,
Right.
6 feet buried deep, suffering from chemical warfare. I'm not in jail.
Right.
Like, you know, I'm pretty sitting happy. You know, I'm as happy as I should be in this time. Like, you know, I'd love to be on a beach, but
Right. But
bills.
make the best of us.
Like,
Bills. Yeah.
there's no real beaches here in Columbus, but you know, so your song's Dark Matter is pretty much
Gray
you-
Matter.
Gray Matter.
Yeah.
Dark Matter. Gray Matter is pretty much you putting yourself literally in the album, like aspects of yourself, literally to the chemical
Right.
compound. I love that.
Yeah, you know, and it's funny because I had this, like, I don't know what you call it, just like an experience of like battling with my beliefs in like religion. I don't know, for me, the next step was like philosophy. So like, the one that really gets me is absurdism. And that just pretty much says that life doesn't necessarily have a meaning, and if it does, we can't understand it. So in response to that, you should make your own meaning despite it all. Pretty much rebel against that.
System.
Right.
As long as you do what is right. Yeah.
As long as you're not hurting anyone, obviously, you know.
Obviously.
But
You know, like I grew up in a Baptist Christian household.
yeah, same.
And you know, as I got older, questions started coming up, and asking the pastor, asking my parents, asking the deacon and deaconesses and all that stuff. And I could never really get the answer that I feel more comfortable about.
Right.
And so then that switched to me being atheist, and I was like, maybe I'm agnostic, because maybe once upon a time there was something, but I don't know if there's anything
Right.
anymore. But then I stopped at Buddhism because it allowed me to practice in being myself. I find more power within myself
Right.
than, you know, always relying on him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not saying that he doesn't exist. It's just, you know, I think that I'm more powerful than I actually know.
Right.
I constantly push that. And, you know, so is that something that you currently believe in?
For sure. I mean, I think to be like there's nothing.
There's nothing?
I mean, I think to be like there's nothing is kind of is crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like
You gotta believe something is greater than yourself.
right. And I mean, hell, if there isn't, that'd be equally as insane.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy. And it's just like I don't know. I feel like that's like nihilism, you know. And I've gone down that path before. It's not a fun path at all. At all.
Very pessimistic.
It is, because then, what do you really work towards? And I mean, if you're a nihilist working towards something, you're more like an absurdist or an existentialist, you know. Because
You're never just one thing, but
right.
I mean, yeah, like it's just you have to accept that there has to be something more to this than just, you know, I'm here, I'll be gone, something else will just come up and take it up and then
Right.
rinse and repeat. Sure, that's just been a very consistent cycle, but there's always been some kind of progression and growth as well. You know, eventually the planet will blow up and all that stuff, but, you know, hopefully I'll be long gone by then, and hopefully my generation will find a way to be somewhere else at that point in time. I imagine by my grandchildren they'll be traveling through space. Hopefully.
Yeah.
We're talking about your music and now we're talking about
Hey,
space.
nah,
Which perfectly
Nah,
fine.
man,
I can
I
talk
put-
about anything and everything.
yeah. I put so much philosophy in my music. I try to. It's interesting.
I love it.
And like,
No, I was gonna say like because I found philosophy to be a very amazing guide because it's experience from other people's lives that, you know, they'll tell you something, and at that moment in time you may not understand it, but it's like eventually
Right, it just clicks.
You're like, dang, all right, that's real.
yeah.
Like my grandfather, he was known as the man with 1,000 stories. He always had wise words.
Yeah.
You know, and it'd be some of the most simplest and confusing phrases, like, you know, a monkey gonna need his tail more than once.
Listen, I've learned that simplicity is like the best. Because one, there's just so many interpretations. One of my favorites, I mean, that come to mind right now is, I forget who said it. He was like, I saw a bee drowning in honey, and I understood.
Damn.
Right. It's just like, shit. And it's funny. It's a stupid meme. It was. Do you remember when Gucci was like, "Don't get lost in the sauce"?
Yeah.
Pretty much that.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what he was saying.
It's just even simpler than that. Like it's just easy to get overwhelmed by things, and
Yeah.
that's one of the things I love about philosophy is that, like you said, you know, you can take it in many different ways, shapes, and forms. You know, however it speaks to you, it's how it's supposed to be spoken to.
Right.
And as long as it's not telling you to hurt anybody.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like turn the other cheek shouldn't be like literally turning someone's cheek. Unless that's how you roll. But like, yeah, like, so your music is based around philosophies, and it's been a huge driving force. I've been loving your energy this whole time because you've been very much, as far as we've been talking, you've been very much just straightforward, and you seem very knowledgeable about life. And you're young. You're how old?
24.
24.
Just turned.
And I swear you'd be like 40 or 50. The way you've been talking.
Man,
lately.
that's how I feel.
And that just means that you're wise. And like your music, I mean, it speaks. Like you're a lyricist. I love it. is that something that you categorize yourself as?
See, when I hear lyricist, I think of like lyrical, miracle, spiritual. You know, see, but I mean, in that same, I get what you're saying. I consider myself a writer, like first and foremost. Like, I forget who I was talking to. I pretty much consider myself a writer who happens to make music. You know, I just try to be as honest as possible. And honestly, I found when you're doing that, simplicity works, you know. I mean, and with that though, there's no real room to misinterpret what I'm saying. I mean, philosophy, we say that interpret it different ways. But when I'm talking about myself, my story, what I feel, I do it all the time, but I go off on tangents. But like simplicity, it just works, you know. I think, and in my music, I wouldn't consider myself a lyrical person just because I think it's honest and it rhymes and it sounds good, you know. And that's just the recording artist in me that makes it sound good. But yeah.
It's like earlier today, I was on the way back here from picking up the lunch. I was listening to like These Days.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, I love this song. Cause I was like, let me tell you about these days, man.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much, I guess what I'm saying is like your words do speak to me, and I very much see that your work is going to be exploding. It's going to keep on growing. It's going to be so much bigger because even though I have not heard Gray Matter yet, I already feel like I'm gonna enjoy it because what I had was what I could find off of your Instagram.
Yeah.
And even then, like it jumped me from that to your Spotify. Listen to like top 5 tracks on your Spotify and your SoundCloud, and it just went on from there. And I was like, why haven't I heard this guy before? And I'm so glad that you had messaged us and reached out and everything.
For sure.
What's something that we should expect from you later? Working on anything? I know you just released.
Yeah. Well, it's not released yet.
Not out yet.
I finished it.
Like,
so I mean, so you heard Insane.
yes.
So I love that sound. Just like I don't know, pop. Pop is so fun to make.
I mean, it's vague.
Yeah. It's so fun to make. So I have like 5 songs. Are you familiar with Jane Smith's work?
No.
So he has this series of works where it's just pop, you know. He's kind of an inspiration musically, at least. So I don't have a name for it yet, but it's just 5 songs that are just pop, singing, rapping, you know. I want to release it before the summer ends.
Ooh.
So like,
pop album.
Yeah. I mean, and it's not
pop summer song.
Right, and it's not as deep as like Gray Matter, but it's something I think is cool. It sounds fun,
As long as you're enjoying it.
Yeah. Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Forget what else thinks. But you wanna play a quick game?
Sure.
So every interview we try to do like a little quick fire questions, get to know our artists a little bit better.
Okay.
And so I'm gonna ask you a few questions. A lot of these questions were made by previous interviewees.
Yeah.
So we'll always start off pretty easy and simple. Left-handed or right-handed?
Right-handed.
Right-handed. iPhone or Android?
Android.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
you want to know why?
Why?
Well, okay. First phone was an Android. I got used to the UI of it. I like to be able to customize things. You can't do that with iPhone. But I have a Mac, so like, the economy would be dope to have, but I'm stuck on my Android.
I used to have an Android, and then I got an iPhone. I got stuck.
I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it.
Once you change, it's hard to go back because then you get that special camera look and certain features, FaceTiming and all that stuff. Your worst dating experience?
Oof. Okay. I was like 18, and it was like one of my oldest friend's cousin. I took her out. We went to Cheesecake Factory. We got there. It was just awkward, and maybe it's my fault, but I don't know. I try to engage people just in like, I don't know, conversations I think are interesting. It don't have to be deep. It doesn't have to be deep. It doesn't have to be like philosophy. Just like, she wasn't really engaging, and obviously I found out.
Word answers.
Yeah, and I found out she wasn't really that into me. It's just like, okay. But the thing that I was caught up on, I spent so much money. And it's just like, I don't know. And she could have just like told me. I found out through like what she didn't do, that she didn't like me. It would have been nice if she told me instead of that,
Letting you take her out and then buying her dinner. Oh, you can get 2 cheesecakes, baby. It's fine. It's only $40.
Bro. I'm a giver. I'm telling you, man.
Oh, man,
so
I know the feeling, man. Window or aisle seat?
I rollerbladed for the first time like 2 weeks ago, and I'd have to say window seats because, of course,
you have to go with the full experience.
That's dope.
Boneless or traditional wings?
I remember hold on. Boneless.
Boneless?
Yeah. I remember you saying that too.
I know.
It's just like boneless. Cause I don't know. Well, when I eat traditional wings, everyone's like, "Why are you eating like that? There's still meat on there." Like, what do you mean? There's no meat on there.
Yeah.
You're tripping.
You're literally just sucking on the marrow at this point.
Right. Boneless is fun.
Yeah, I refer to it as like it's the cleanest way to eat chicken.
It is.
It's like you can just grab a fork and just stab it, get some ranch, just stab that into
Exactly.
Good.
There's a stigma for some reason. I don't know.
Napkins, good, fine. Hands clean. The boneless or traditional wings was actually with my friend Monet, who was one of our interviewees. And it's because we constantly had this rivalry about wings. Silly things that friends get in arguments about. Jelly or jam?
I don't know the difference.
I don't know. I feel like that was.
I don't know the difference.
That was one of our European artists, I think.
I mean, probably jelly, grape jelly.
Jam, I guess, is more thicker. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean that sounds right. Jelly though.
Jelly.
Yeah.
Your zodiac sign?
Pisces.
Pisces. He's a little fishy. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner?
Probably dinner.
Dinner. What would you get for dinner?
I like Korean food.
Korean?
I like Korean food.
I actually went to a Korean barbecue for the first time.
Where'd you
go? Goji. Goji?
I don't think I've heard of it.
It's over out north. And,
okay.
You order the food and they bring it out and you just cook it right there in front of you and stuff like that.
Like a Japanese steakhouse?
Like that, but you cook it yourself.
Oh.
They give you you sit at a table and right in the center is this hot plate stove thing.
Yeah.
And pretty much, they turn it on and you get your raw chicken or pork or.
That sounds dangerous.
I'm gonna be honest. I went there one time. I went there with it on a date, and I almost burned myself.
Yeah, I bet.
Oh my god, that would have been the worst. Oh yes, how are you doing? Oh my god, no.
I'm gonna have to go there. It says Goji?
Goji, yep.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
South North.
Yeah.
Talking about Korean food. Crunchy or smooth peanut butter?
Crunchy. Crunchy, absolutely.
And one job that you would never ever work again, and why?
I had a lot of jobs. Probably, I don't want to call them out. Well, Boston Market.
Boston Market.
Boston Market. And I say that because I got hired on as a carver, just carving the chicken, right? Remember they threw me on no training. It's like, yeah, cut it like this. I'm like, what does that mean? And it's a restaurant, so like everyone's like doing their own thing. No one would teach me. So I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna just guess. Like what I've seen from Boston Market. My manager at the time, she would like berate the hell out of me. Like abuse, like verbal abuse. Like, bro, I'm trying, you didn't tell me how to cut this fucking chicken.
Precise way to cut the chicken. Cut the legs first.
That job was terrible. And then I was just like, I pulled someone aside and was like, I don't think I'm good here. So it was like, you can do utility, which is pretty much dishwashing and the trash. It wasn't a bad job, but it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun.
Working food service is never fun.
It's not at all.
I can't be one of those people that are like, oh, I worked at McDonald's for 27 years. I'm like,
that scares me.
Huh?
That's scary.
Yeah.
That's
oh
so
my
scary.
God.
Probably.
Like,
Probably.
Oh my God, no.
Dude, I worked at Victoria's Secret. It's my last job. This dude pulled me aside. He was like, how old are you? I was like 23 at the time. He was like, yeah, I've been with this company right after you were born. Like, maybe like April. It was like since 1998 to now. And I'm looking at this dude, I'm like, that's insane. That's crazy. I
couldn't be. I mean, I'm not saying I got commitment issues or anything, but there's just certain things that like I couldn't imagine myself doing day in and day out for years.
Right.
And I don't want to flip burgers. I don't want to touch a fryer. I've done that. I've worked. My first job was working at a movie theater. And popping popcorn and slipping on. I slipped on nothing once.
Nothing.
Literally nothing.
Just...
They caught it on camera. I've only told certain people about it. So back behind the concessions, I was talking to my supervisor.
Yeah.
He turned around and they played it back on the cameras for me, and I just fell.
Yeah.
And I couldn't tell them what necessarily happened. I was like, I feel like I moved an inch, and then my body just went whoop. And I was a little bit heavier than I am now, but my supervisor turns around. He's like, "You okay?" I'm like, "No." How that happened? Like on the cameras, it is just simply me. I'm standing up, and now I'm on the ground, and I missed the job because I like the free movies, but it was the worst.
Yeah.
It's not something that I think I quit after 3 months.
Yeah.
And that's because I got a different job, which I ended up working for years, but 4 years. But that's because I had room to grow. I wasn't always doing the same freaking thing every day.
Right.
Couldn't do warehouses. I quit Amazon after a month.
Ooh, yeah, I don't blame you. I was there for like 3 months one time.
Oh man.
The one in Aetna. Packer?
I was the person that went around broke down the boxes and stuff. Whatever you guys didn't like.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've done that before too.
They didn't give me anything to drive around in, so I had to walk the entire warehouse over and over again.
Which one did you work at? Aetna? Or Obet's?
Obet's.
Okay. I was there for like, Obet's like a day. It's just like terrible.
Oh, yeah. The worst. Not sponsored by Amazon, but don't work at Amazon. I'm gonna cut that out. But
No, you should leave it in.
just that don't work at Amazon. That's the whole interview. But yeah, thank you so much, Grayson, for coming out and having this little conversation with us. Gray Matter is coming out when?
There's no date yet, but soon.
Soon.
What's today? What's March?
Today, no.
No, it's April.
April.
You know what? Maybe it should come out in June.
In June?
Maybe it should come out in June.
Should come in June.
That'd be dope.
All right. Grayson June with Gray Matter possibly coming out in June. give it a listen. Give his Spotify a listen. Trust me, I was listening to it for the past few days. I'm enjoying it. I already added like 5 songs. Hit the like, subscribe, follow him. Where?
Instagram at Grayson's Music. I'm on TikTok too, under Grayson June or Grayson's Music, one of those.
One of those options.
Yeah. Look up both.
That's it for today. Love you all.